3 weeks ago, I checked out an ultra-wide curved gaming monitor from Pixio that came with FreeSync support for $600. That was reasonable for an ultra-wide gaming monitor, given we've seen 35-inch panels with the exact same resolution that cost up to 2 times the price. If you're interested to learn more about that monitor, you can check it out right over here. But basically, it came with an awesome display. We're talking a 3440 by 1440 resolution, 100 Hz refresh rate, with an 8 millisecond gray-to-gray response time. But there were some quirks that users had to deal with, like the cheap plastic build quality, lack of support for Vega, which was a big deal to be honest, and a terrible stand. And I'm sure most of you might be asking yourselves, shouldn't we expect that in a gaming monitor of that caliber in that price point? Not anymore, my friends, because today we're checking out something that literally blows the doors off Pixio's ultra-wide monitor. And it's this, the Massdrop 35-inch VAST curved gaming monitor. It's priced at $550. That's right, my friends, it's $50 cheaper than Pixio is offering, yet it offers all the flexibility that gamers can expect from a gaming monitor. So let's check this out right after this.
So it was kind of a love at first sight, you know? There's really nothing like this exterior. I love the metallic color, the tinted glass panel, the RGB fans at the front. It's basically a see-through case, and who doesn't love that? Your graphics card can go vertical, the top is radiator friendly, and the right side is so unique when exposed thanks to these cable covers. So you can show off everything you've got with the H500P by Cooler Master. Check it out in the description below.
Before we get into the design and the panel performance, I want to quickly mention that this product isn't offered for a limited time unlike other Massdrop products. This will be a regularly stocked item, so that's nice. Let's quickly walk through the specs of this gaming monitor. The VAST features a 35-inch curved VA display with a resolution of 3440 by 1440, a gray-to-gray response time of 2 milliseconds, 100 Hz refresh rate, with the cherry on top being the inclusion of FreeSync support ranging from 49 to 100 Hz and 8-bit color output, all for $550. As for warranty, you get 1 year for the panel and a couple of years for the electronics, all managed through Massdrop. But are these specs and features worth taking a look at, especially for gamers who are looking to switch to an ultra-wide experience? We'll find out. Kicking things off with the design, and I think Massdrop has done a fantastic job for their first gaming monitor. It's simple, it's subtle, the bezels are pretty minimal, so it should fit in within any disk environment, be it your office, home setup, etc. There are virtually no signs of branding throughout the panel, which is much appreciated, especially if you're targeting for a cleaner setup. Plus, it doesn't come with those flashy red and black aesthetics like some other high-end monitors we've taken a look at earlier this year. Although I would have preferred an all-black design, at least as an option for buyers, as the silver housing might not fit in within certain setups. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that though. Moving on to build quality, I'm giving the VAST a B+, since the main body is mostly constructed in aluminum and it feels rock solid. However, the stand is really weak. It's mostly made out of this cheap plastic material which really questions long-term durability, and it creaks every time when I try to adjust the monitor, which was a little bit annoying. This also applies to the included curved base, so please do take note of that. Thankfully, the VAST is Vega compatible and it supports the 100 by 100 configuration, so I'd highly recommend picking up a third-party monitor arm or stand to avoid those inconveniences. On the positive side, this is by far the most flexible curved ultra-wide gaming monitor that I've ever come across. You've got height adjustment up to 4.3 inches, vertical tilt up to 20 degrees. Unfortunately, there isn't horizontal tilt, and I highly recommend you refrain from at least trying that since it really pushes that plastic stand to its extent. But check this out, you can rotate the panel vertically to get this super weird portrait mode. Personally, it's pointless because no one's going to game in a vertical aspect ratio, plus given the curvature of the monitor, it really is an odd setup. Perhaps web developers could take advantage of this feature because they'd be able to view their lines of code without having to constantly scroll up and down. But what do you guys think of this portrait implementation? Let me know in the comments down below. The I/O is positioned on the right side of the monitor for quicker access. We have a single DisplayPort 1.2 port and 3 HDMI ports, one of which that supports version 2.0 and the other being 1.4 compliant. Now, just like the Pixio monitor, the VAST does not come with USB 3.0 or 2.0 ports, which could be a deal breaker for some of you, but I don't see myself using USB ports on a monitor, and I'd definitely like to hear your thoughts about that in the comments. Also, the power supply for the panel is built in, so you just need to plug in the standard 3-prong cable and power on the monitor. Cable management shouldn't be a concern in this case. I should also mention that Massdrop has implemented one of the worst menu navigation system. Let me walk you through what exactly they've done here. So the VAST features a little joystick-like button on the back, and that also acts as a power button, so do take note of that. Entering the menu can be done by shifting the joystick upwards, but things just go south from there. If you need to go down, you'll need to shift the joystick towards the left, and if you want to go back up, you'll have to shift it towards the right. Entering the sub-menu can be done by shifting the joystick up, but if you want to back out, you'll have to shift downwards, and if none of that made any sense, I'm really sorry guys, but seriously, there's no logic behind this crappy implementation. Why not give us physical buttons underneath the monitor? I'm really hoping Massdrop is taking notes. Please fix this. Anyways, moving on to the centerpiece of this monitor, the display. It's a 35-inch panel with a resolution of 3440 by 1440. Unfortunately, it isn't an IPS display, but rather a VA panel, just like the one found on the Pixio monitor and even the much more expensive Predator Z35P from Acer. All I can say is that it's far superior than TN, no questions asked. Definitely expect great color reproduction, especially when consuming content. It's a bit less vibrant when compared to the IPS display found on my BenQ PD3200U 4K display, but that's expected at this price point. The viewing angles are alright. I did notice a bit of a contrast shift when tilting the display. It was basically a similar experience from my time with the Pixio Ultrawide Monitor. You could certainly get away with some content creation, but if you're serious about it, I would recommend picking up an IPS panel since it offers great viewing angles and different color profiles. Speaking of profiles, the Massdrop monitor comes with a game mode, an RTG mode, an eco mode, and of course a standard mode. Highly recommend you skip all of those modes because, to be honest, the game mode and the RTG completely looks horrible. In fact, the RTG just over sharpens the image. Absolutely just avoid that. Stick with standard mode and you'll be happy. Now, if your primary usage involves working with documents or just anything that's productive apart from content creation, the VAST is an excellent option. The 21:9 aspect ratio gives you a lot of horizontal screen real estate, and it really does enhance productivity. If you're interested in the pros and cons of 21:9 versus 16:9 monitors, check out this video from Dimitri, where he walks you through pretty much everything you need to know. It's a really great video. Now, given this is a curved gaming monitor with a 2 millisecond greater response time, how does a VAST play well with gaming? It's fantastic. Out of the box, it comes with a 100 Hz refresh rate, so it doesn't involve manual overclocking unlike Acer's offerings. It also supports AMD's FreeSync technology, meaning you can experience a tear-free and smoother gameplay provided you have a beefier AMD GPU, and we'll talk about that shortly. Now, I spend the majority of my time pairing this monitor with a GTX 1080 Ti inside my primary workstation PC, since that's what I use on a daily basis. Everything from playing Battlefield 1 to Overwatch to my recent obsession of Forza Motorsport 7, I had a smoother gameplay experience. Screen tearing was present at times, but it was just there for a second, and since I was already immersed with the gameplay, it was hard for me to notice any artifacts. This is strictly personal opinion, by the way. I did manage to test out this monitor with the RX Vega 64 GPU. It involves a few steps to get it up and running. First, you have to have up-to-date drivers. Then you'll need to navigate through that horrible menu system within the monitor to enable FreeSync, and you're set. The VAST comes with a FreeSync range of 49 to 100 Hz, so that's a lot more than the 60 to 100 Hz range found on the Pixio Ultrawide. I fired up Battlefield 1 and it was once again an awesome experience, albeit the frame rates were a bit lower than what I was able to get with the 1080 Ti, but given the fantastic response time, I was barely able to notice any artifacts or screen tearing, which was awesome. If you're looking for a good panel that can handle this FreeSync range, I'd highly recommend it. Now, given that this is a FreeSync monitor, it makes sense to pair it up with a AMD-based GPU, but the problem is it just doesn't make any sense in 2017. First of all, the Vega GPUs are very expensive for what they are as of right now, especially with the whole mining situation. It's really hard to grab a GPU at a reasonable price point. And of course, driving a resolution of 3440 by 1440 is tough, and most of the time, the Vega 64 needed to run a bit lower detail settings to consistently hit the panel's FreeSync range. If you currently have a GTX 1070, 1080, or 1080 Ti, this would be a great option if you want to just pair it up and take advantage of that ultra-wide real estate. And of course, you've got the 100 Hz refresh rate. And I'm pretty positive you won't be, weighed down by the screen tearing issues or any artifacts, because personally, I really enjoyed gaming on this monitor with my 1080 Ti. Before I wrap up this review, I also wanted to mention that I noticed a few glitches while playing Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon with the Vega GPU. I think it must have been driver related, but I also had a frustrating time switching inputs between different PCs. So for instance, after testing the monitor with the RX Vega GPU, I switched back to my primary workstation PC with the same DisplayPort cable, but the monitor wasn't able to pick up the signal. It only worked out after I resetted my PC like 2 times. So I found that to be a little odd. I'm not really sure, what's really going on. Perhaps it had to do with the module that's built inside the monitor. So Massdrop, if you're taking notes, this is something that you could add onto your list. With regards to backlight bleeding, I was not able to identify any of those spots with my naked eye. What you're seeing right now is shot with my camera set to 320 ISO. Cranking that up makes it fairly evident at the center where you can spot a little bit of clouding, but in real world use, it's not noticeable. Well, there you have it, guys. My experience with the Massdrop VAST 35-inch curved ultra-wide gaming monitor. It really is an awesome panel for its price, but there are a few quirks, obviously, that you have to be aware of. For example, the very cheap plastic stand. It really is annoying, especially if you're trying to move the monitor here and there. The creak noise is really, really annoying. I would highly recommend you switch it with a third-party monitor arm, and thank Massdrop for including a Vega support for this panel, so you can easily switch this with a third-party monitor arm. The other major frustrating issue with this monitor is that horrible menu navigation system. Not really sure how Massdrop passed this, but it really was a frustrating experience, especially if you want to tone down the brightness a little bit or just play around with the settings. It is genuinely very hard to get through. So hopefully, Massdrop can fix this with their production model, which is going to hit later down the year for users to buy. And of course, I'll leave a link down below if you want to check it out. So if you're ready to work around those issues, and of course, a few more that I mentioned in the review, then the Massdrop VAST monitor is an excellent option if you're looking for an ultra-wide gaming monitor in that sub $600 price point. Well, that wraps up this review. Let me know what you guys think about the Massdrop VAST monitor in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, especially for the price that you pay. And would you pick this over the Pixio monitor? Definitely leave a comment down below. I'm Ibra with HardwareCanucks. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe for more similar content, and we'll see you in the next one.